Hey there, fellow travelers. Mark here with Wolters World, and today we're here on Key West in Florida. And today what we have for you are the things that shock tourists when they visit the Sunshine State, Florida. And the first thing that shocks tourists when they come to Florida is driving in Florida. I mean, look, you could have a heart attack, a panic attack, and road rage all at the same time when you drive through Florida, because you have the snowbirds that are going 45 on the highway. You have the tourists that are like, oh, there's my exit, and vroom, moving over 3 lanes at a time to get that exit, almost killing you. And then you got the locals going about 90 miles an hour who are pissed at all these people are getting them late for work. And I didn't even mention the speed traps on the back roads and stuff like that. Look, you'll be shocked about your driving here in Florida. Look, you're gonna have to have patience when you're here just to keep yourself sane and not get yourself in trouble. And for those of you thinking of visiting Florida and thinking, oh, it's an easy drive top to bottom, you have to realize it's about 10 and a half, 11 hours from Pensacola in the very north down to Miami. Or if you want to get from Pensacola to here on Key West, it's about 13 hours nonstop in perfect Google traffic, so you know it takes longer than that. So just know, driving will shock you when you're here. And the thing is, if you're gonna drive through Florida, it's a long way through, and that leads into the second thing that's gonna shock you when you come here, is that Florida really feels like 3 different states when you come here. I mean, North Florida feels more like the South, like Georgia, Alabama kind of area. Then you got the center part with Orlando and Tampa and those things, and that feels more like tourist, retiree center kind of stuff. And then you have the southern part of Florida, which has much more of a Latin Caribbean vibe with some like New York thrown up on top of it as well, because so many people have come down from there. And you really have like 3 states in one. And so when you go there, whether it's the food, the people, how you hang out and do things, I mean, it can be a really different experience wherever you go in the state. So make sure you're doing the research to find out which is better for you. If you're coming for a guy's trip, yeah, Miami's a great time, or a girl's trip, maybe going to Jacksonville for the Florida-Georgia game, for those things. It's a definitely different vibe than you're coming to Key West, you're going to Clearwater Beach. I mean, you need to do your research, okay, when you're coming here. Now, the third thing that's gonna shock you when you come to Florida is that the local wildlife is out to get you. Look, Florida Gators, it's not just the University of Florida's team, right? The Gators are all over Florida. So if you're going and you're gonna stay at a resort, or you're gonna be staying at an Airbnb or somebody's house, and there's a pond nearby, that is not a place just to go and relax and let your kids play gingerly around there. You have to be careful that there might be gators there, because there probably are. And so you do have to have a heads up, because gators are not your friend. They're not cute and cuddly. They're not a tourist attraction. They will get you. And there's very, very, very horrible stories about tourists that were not lucky when it came to the gators, okay? So do be careful around the water. Don't let your kids play around the water on the side of ponds or lakes, or your pets. You do need to be careful with that, okay? And the thing is, it's not just the gators that are trying to get you. There's also the mosquitoes that will want to suck all of the blood out of your body. Or if you're lucky enough to step on a fire ant hill and get the fire ants to come and bite you, oh, that is excruciating. That happened to me when I was filming one time. I was standing there filming and they're just eating away at my legs, hence why I'm filming on a pier this time, just in case. And the thing is, if you're in the water, you need to be careful. I mean, watch the signs. They say there's jellyfish or there's sharks. You do need to have a heads up. Like, most likely you're not gonna have any problems, but it is important to really think about these things. And sometimes there's animals that you don't even consider a nuisance that might be out there. Like the iguanas. You might think, oh, iguanas, they're cool lizard things. Yes, but they can act like pigeons and try to take your food. Or if you're here on Key West, the attack chickens that are here, look, you come to Key West, chickens will hop up on your table and try to get your food, and you can't do anything about it really, because they're protected. So just be ready for the wildlife when you come to Florida. Now, having talked about the wildlife in Florida, I think it's important that the fourth thing that's gonna shock you when you come here is the wildest thing in Florida, and that is Florida Man. Just Google Florida Man. Look it up, whatever browser you like. Go put in Florida Man and see what comes up. You will hear crazy stories and crazy news headlines about Florida Man did this or this happened. I mean, just Google now. Yeah, I mean, you can find, oh, Florida Man survives gator attack by poking out its eyeballs. Florida Man buys a Porsche with checks he printed out on his home computer. Florida Man, shoplifting suspect trying to get away from a grocery store, stripped naked and steaks tumbled out of his pants. These are actual headlines I found when I Googled Florida Man. And when you're here, you're like, how does Florida Man happen? I don't understand. And then you see Florida Man things happening. You're like, all right, Florida Man. And so it is kind of a meme now, but it is kind of shocking when you see the news and those kind of things. You're like, oh, Right. So watch the local news when you're here, because you might just get to see a Florida man, sighting in the news. And I think that leads into another thing that might shock you when you come to Florida, is how few actual Floridians you meet when you come down to Florida, because so many people have moved down here, whether it's to retire down here or to come down and live and work here for, no state income tax. You see, there's benefits for living here. You get discounts for some parks, you get, discounts on cruises. There's a lot of things out there that benefit being a local here. But finding actual Floridians, like born and bred Floridians, I've met 2 or 3 in my life. Everyone else I know here, my sister-in-law, she lives here. Obviously her husband, kids, all their friends, they're not from around Florida. They're not Floridian. They're from other parts of the country. So if you do meet a real Floridian, you should take a picture of them. It's not that bad, but you'll really see how many people are not from Florida. When you're here, you'll be shocked, like, wow, we've been here in Key West, and we met one person so far working that was actually born in Florida. He wasn't from Key West. He was from up in St. Augustine. I'm still like, wow, a real Floridian. How crazy. He's like, yeah, I'm a unicorn. You can take my picture. So that was pretty funny. Now, the 6th thing that's going to shock you to come to Florida is the weather. When people say it's not the heat, it's humidity. No, here it's the heat and it's the humidity. Really, if you're coming here in the summer, or not even the summer sometimes, it feels like you can give the air a big wet hug, because it's so humid here and it can get so hot. And in July and August, when all those tourists are coming down here to go to Disney and do these things, it can just be like, put more stress on you because of the weather. So do make sure you're bringing a hat when you're going to go here to protect yourself. Sunblock all the time when you are here. Reapply, because the sun can be extremely strong, and with the heat and humidity, you can get dehydrated really quickly. So don't just refill up on pina coladas and stuff. Make sure you're getting your water and refills and keeping yourself hydrated to stay safe. And if you look at the weather, the best months to come here are basically October through April. And then you also have hurricane season, July through like October, November. So that's a whole thing. Like, hurricane parties shocked me the first time I heard of them. I'm like, there's a hurricane coming? You're having a party? They're like, yeah, but it's not going to go by us. But we got stocked up anyway. I'm like, all right. So that's one of those that might shock you when you're here. Also, the random downpours that you'll have. Like, you'll look on the Weather Channel and it'll say, sunny all day, 1% chance of rain. Guarantee it's going to at least sprinkle like just a little bit on you. So bring a light rain jacket just in case. It might not happen, but it is funny how just like boom, and then it's gone. So you have that. Now, remember when I was talking about the heat and humidity making more stress at Disney? Well, the next shock I have for you is the price to go to the amusement parks, especially Disney. It's a few mortgage payments to go there with your family of 4. I know, I went once with my kids and they're like, Dad, we weren't really big fans. We like Universal better. I'm like, great, I get to save thousands on an extra to Orlando because we're not going there. But honestly, you'll be shocked at the sticker price of going to Orlando and going to Disney. And I'll be honest with you, when you're there, you will see the stress, the financial stress on families when they're there. Like, eat the food or don't eat the food or whatever with the money we're spending. You will see that. So if you're going to go to Disney, just be prepared. Understand that you are going to be spending a lot of money, and it's just like, hey, that's the way it is. And then it'll make it easier for you to enjoy the parks when you're there. And the thing is, there's a lot of great parks. It's not just Disney. My kids, like I said, they love Universal. They're all about the Harry Potter, the magical world of Harry Potter. But there's stuff throughout the state you can go to, Busch Gardens. You'll have a good time when you're here, but the prices sometimes at those parks will shockingly be like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do here? All right. And I think, let's see. Another thing I think is important for you to know as a tourist that might shock you is that locals don't just wear flip-flops and love Disney and go to Disney all the time. Yes, they do wear flip-flops a lot. And yes, they do go to Disney, because I think it's like a rite of passage as a Floridian. From the few Floridians I've actually met that are real Floridians, No, but honestly, the people here have real jobs. They go and work in marketing. They go to their law firm. They're working on their HVAC. They're doing construction. That's why you see the locals have a lot of road rage and get upset with the tourists when they're here, because it's like, dude, I got to get to work. I know you're like enjoying the view or trying to find the entry to Disney or where's the entrance to the historic stuff in St. Augustine, but I got to get to work. I got to get my kids to school. And so sometimes you see that frustration with the locals and the tourists when you are here. And I think that leads into a specific shock I think you should know when you come here, and that is the lines during snowbird season and the lines during tourist season. Look, the poor Floridians that are here, they always have people that are coming in because it's Florida. The beaches are gorgeous. There's amazing seafood when you're here. You could eat really well. There's no, it's just a great place to be. But the thing is, if you come in snowbird season, you know, if you're coming here, you know, November through February, you'll see if you're in, you know, where there's a lot of retirees, the lines to get into restaurants, the lines to go to the stores and stuff, it's going to take time. I mean, if you're going to be here during the snowbird season, maybe plan reservations later in the night, so you're not going to your 5 or 6 o'clock dinner. Go for a set 8, 9 o'clock dinner, have a better chance of getting a spot. I know when we used to go to Tampa, which my sister-in-law lives, we would go eat at 8 or 9 o'clock at night because the big wave had already gone through from the you know, retirees and stuff. So have a heads up for that. During tourist season, you know, especially if you're coming between Christmas and New Year's when it's super busy, or during the July-August period, I highly recommend making reservations for all the restaurants you want to go to, just to make it easier on yourself. Also, if you're going to be wanting to see some of those princesses at Disney, book that princess as soon as you can, because there's no guarantee they're going to get to see Ariel or Jasmine or whoever they want to see. So have a heads up for that. Now, my next shock for you when you come here is what happens to tourists when they come to Florida. It's like we drive in from Georgia and cross that Florida-Georgia line, and all of a sudden our brains disappear. It doesn't matter if you're a PhD, if you're a master carpenter, if you're the smartest person around. We all seem to become stupid tourists when we come here, and where do I turn off? Where do I go? How do I buy stuff? Do you have sunblock? I'm like, yes, it's a Walgreens. It's a pharmacy. Of course they have it. Like, it's just amazing how when we come here, we just kind of become dumb tourists. You know, it's funny because there's smart tourists out there, but some destinations we just like, oh, I'm going to come here to relax and not think, and then we forget to think, and you'll see lots of dumb tourists, like the ones whose skin color turns the color of the shirt because they're not wearing sunblock. Look, you go out, you're going to get fried. You don't make a reservation, you might not get a place to eat. I mean, it's just sometimes you'll see the frustration of the tourists, and when they realize themselves, how did I make this stupid mistake as a tourist? It does happen, okay? And then last thing I want to talk about shocking tourists when they come here is just how gorgeous the beaches are here in Florida. Yes, the Sunshine State is made for you to go and enjoy, because you have famous beaches you can go to. Yeah, Miami Beach and South Beach. Of course you can go there and have a good time and take in the sun and enjoy that. Or you can go to Clearwater Beach by Tampa, voted one of the best beaches in America. But honestly, you go to the beach, you're gonna love it. It's just amazing here. And it is, you know, shockingly different, the beaches on the Atlantic coast versus the Gulf Coast. So look and see what you want to do when you're here, and that might dictate which coast and which set of beaches you go to. But don't worry, whichever one you go to, you'll be shocked how much you enjoy it and how great the beaches are here. So I hope you enjoyed our list of 10 things that shock tourists when they come here to Florida. What are the things that shocked you when you came to Florida? Put it in the comments section below so we can have some more fun with this. Of course, keep it nice, everybody. And I wish you all the best, and I'll say bye from here in Florida.